folks, Ariel over here, where today I want to talk about fertilizing things in your garden. I know this is a high proportion of gardening videos on the channel recently, but this is the time of year when that is a lot of what I am doing. And all winter you'll get back to more variety and lots of snow shoveling and all of that. Anyway, you can see the garden is still wrapped up in its covers behind me. It's been covered for 4 days now. I don't think it frosted last night. It stayed just above freezing. It did freeze the 3 nights before that. It looks like the next little bit's supposed to be warmer, so I'll probably be taking those covers off a little bit later today. But right now it is still covered and has been for 4 days. What I want to discuss right now is fertilizing it. This I use in my garden, on my herb beds. So this is all flowers, and mostly edible flowers and herbs around my house. And this is something I use to fertilize all of that because, as you probably know, if you learned anything about maintaining your soil quality, every time you take something out, like harvest a chive or eat a pansy flower or pick some thyme or whatever, if you take something out of the soil, the plant took it out of the soil, you take it away from the plant, you're kind of mining your dirt, your soil. I've always used them interchangeably. I guess some people don't. But you're mining the nutrients out of your soil when you do that. So eventually, like any kind of mining, it will run out if you don't put something back in there. So we don't want to do that because I want to keep growing lovely herbs and flowers and veggies and berries and all of that stuff for many years to come. And hopefully leave the ground in better health than when I found it, not worse. So one of the main things that I do through the summer to aid in that is recycle a totally free product that you are all creating anyway if you're a human being or a mammal of any kind, and that is urine. Now, I've talked about this before. If you're curious about my composting toilet, I got lots of videos on that. There's a whole playlist of videos on the composting toilet and answering lots of questions, so you can go check that out. I'll try to remember to link that playlist down below, or if I forget, just Google find Nyth composting toilet and you should get all the videos. Anyway, this is the urine bucket from my toilet. Not gross. If I put my nose right in that hole, you might be able to smell the pee. Otherwise, you can't smell it at all. I do not. I love using my composting toilet, just for the record. I hope to never ever use a flush toilet in my home again. I find them much grosser, just for the record. Anyway, so I've got a bucket of perfectly good urine here. And urine is very high in nitrogen, and has some phosphorus and potassium. Now, if you get a fertilizer off the shelf at a hardware store or whatever, it's going to have a NPK ratio. That's how much of each of those things are in it. Urine is very high in nitrogen. This is especially useful for cold climate gardening because, as you can tell, since it just snowed a couple days ago again, I live in a cold area, and when the soil is very cold, even if there's plenty of nitrogen in it, it doesn't release very well, and plants have a hard time uptaking it. Now, if you live somewhere warm, you may not need this so much in the summer if you have plenty of nitrogen in your soil, but if you are gardening in the end seasons, if it's cool for you in the spring and the fall, especially spring when plants are trying to get going, some extra nitrogen may be helpful even if you have plenty of nitrogen in your soil, because if it's really cold, it will the plant will not be able to absorb it as well. So this is what I use. I use this year-round. In the winter, because nothing else is growing, it simply fertilizes trees, and I kind of take turns fertilizing the trees around the edge of my clearing. In the summer, I take turns as well. I will, water these beds, then I'll water those, then I'll water the herbs and mint and raspberries, then I'll water the cabbage and kale, and so on. So everything just kind of rotates, so nothing gets, like watered every week or so. Everything maybe gets, our summers are short, but maybe 2 or 3 doses in the summer. Now, one other thing to be aware of, because urine is very high in nitrogen, is if you are trying to grow a fruit or a root, like if you give carrots too much nitrogen, some can be helpful to get them going again, but if they have excess nitrogen, they will grow all beautiful leafy tops and not make a root. And the same can happen for tomatoes. You can have a beautiful green bushy plant that doesn't make a tomato at all. So that's something to be aware of. But for a lot of leafy things, which again is a lot of what I grow because of my climate, and that's a lot of what grows here, leaves like nitrogen in general. Now, urine can be a little strong. You've probably seen, if you have a dog or your neighbor does, where a dog will pee in the yard and you get a dead spot. and then everything around it grows twice as tall as the rest of the yard. That's because it was a little too strong right in the middle, and it actually killed the plant right in the grass or whatever, right in the center of that hole. But where it got diluted, just a bit further out of there, you can see how everything's taller, often 2 or 3 times as tall as the rest of the lawn, and lush and rich green. That's what it does. And we're going for all of that except for the dead spot in the middle. So I'm going to dilute it. I have some random watering cans here, and what I have done is fill them. You can measure this. About a 10-to-1 ratio is good for almost everything. Some plants can take it a little stronger, corn especially, and a lot of grasses, because corn is in the grass family, can take it a little stronger, but I can't grow corn here anyway because of the climate, and I don't have enough nitrogen to just waste it on my grass, so I use it on the things I want. So I dilute about 10-to-1, and I've measured this in the past, and so I don't measure every time now. Each watering can is full to like here, and then I'm just going to fill it the rest of the way up with my pea, and that gives me about a 10-to-1 dilution. Now, some Americans for sure have got a phobia about reusing their bodily products, their excrement and pee. I think this is a little bit silly if you stop and think about it. Most water that you have ever drank in your life, whether it's been made into coffee that you've drank or beer or whatever you drink, has at some point been inside the body and probably inside the urinary tract of something. Whether it was you, another person, your dog, a dinosaur, whatever. At some point it was peed out by something, has been, traveling around through the water system around the planet, and now you're drinking it, or drinking a beer, or whatever. So being totally scared of drinking or of using something useful like that is a little bit silly if you stop to think about it that way. And I would think most people, if you're wanting to have a more sustainable life, produce more of your own food, create less waste, would be pretty excited to realize that you actually every day, multiple times a day, create something that's really useful. Now if you don't have a composting toilet, this is a little easier if you're a guy. Get a bucket and sit outside and you can just pee in it. It's a little more complicated if you're a female. I am. It's still quite possible. I know it. Anyway, so then I just use this. If I give my watering can a little shake, it kind of mixes that up. And I just use this to water things. Now I mostly am trying to soak the ground, not the leaves. And the only things I don't put this on is I'm not going to water the leaves of a lettuce right before I harvest the lettuce itself to eat. But I am going to water the ground under all my herbs. And if I, pick chives tomorrow, I'm going to put them in an omelet. I'm going to not be the least bit concerned about that. Now, if you do take a lot of prescription medications, and now unfortunately we are finding even prescription medication residue in groundwater and so on, so this is becoming a big issue, but I would probably not use your urine to fertilize vegetable crops. In that case, you may still be able to fertilize trees and ornamental plants, and even if you want your lawn to be brighter green than all of your neighbors, you could use it for things like that. But I probably wouldn't put it on your vegetables if you are taking a lot of prescription medications. But if you're not, this is an awesome way to do this. And I've been using this for years, and as you can see, things are just getting growing, and I am somewhat limited by my climate, but my plants love this stuff and grow prolifically. So I'll just take the watering can. I kind of just, again, I'm not trying to necessarily soak the plants themselves, so just kind of wiggle it down in between there. And you can just use a bucket or whatever watering can. I have a few, so it's an easy way to carry it around. And again, then I just rotate what all is going to get fed. I haven't done these in a while. I've mostly been using it in the garden the last little bit because I wanted to get everything growing as rapidly as I could to get as much out of my season as possible. But since I needed to empty my bucket this morning and the garden is still under its covers, the herbs are going to get their turn today. So this is really simple. It's something you make all the time. It has the exact same things in it that you would otherwise possibly be going to a store and spending money to use on your plants. And some of those fertilizers in the grocery store, actually, if you see urea as an ingredient on the list, that means what you're buying is somebody or something, like a cow, somebody else's pee. And so if you're going to go buy it and you make it every day, it seems silly to spend your money buying somebody or something else's urine if you've got your own for free. And of course, like just about everything else in life, the healthier you are and can maintain your body, the healthier the things that come out of your body are, the healthier the foods and such that go into your body are, the better we can improve this whole system. But even if you are not currently very healthy, and that's something you're working on, you can still use this, like I said, for fertilizing trees, ornamental shrubs, and even your lawn. I bet you if you do this, you will find you have a greener lawn than all of your neighbors. Now I just got to go scoop up water for my 2 watering cans again and use up a little more of this. And if you're curious about what water I'm using, I've got videos on that for most of my irrigation around here in the summer. I'm actually using water from the creek that's below me. So it's somewhat high in, at this time of year, somewhat high in minerals and such anyway, because of the spring snowmelt coming, or summer, or whatever the year's worth of snowmelt coming down off the mountains. Makes the water pretty muddy for a while, so I get a good bit of sediment and such in there anyway. So I don't have to have you guys hang out for the rest of it. I've got enough left in here to probably do 2 more watering cans full, and that'll go the rest of the way around where the camera's out of sight there to the rest of the flower beds. And then, like I said, these won't get their dose of fertilizer again for probably more than a month. I could probably use it a little more often than that. A lot of things can handle it once a week. I simply have too many things growing and can't pee enough to cover all of that every single week. So think about that as a useful way, whether you have a composting toilet or not. If you've got men in your family or around, that as a, just getting pee in a bucket. Most guys, in my experience, like peeing outside anyway. That seems to be a thing that most of them are a fan of. And this is, they've done a lot of trials on this, actually, even with like commercial fields, and gotten 50% better yields. Urine is mostly water with a lot of dissolved nutrients in it. While it's only about 1% of the waste going into a sewer, it contains something like 80% of the nutrients. This is depending a little bit who's measuring and what they're measuring and so on. But it's got a huge amount of the nutrients, so just throwing it away or washing it away down a drain where it goes into a toxic sewage system is pretty sad when you got something for free. And like I said, if you're going to buy fertilizer for anything in your garden anyway, this is natural and organic and free, and the same thing that is used in making a lot of commercial fertilizers that you might get. And if they're not made out of that, they're probably made out of mined potassium and phosphorus and so on, and those have consequences that you can avoid if you are at your own home and use your own urine. So I just want to encourage you guys to give that a try. Again, it's super helpful if you've got a cold time of year, especially when you're getting things growing in the spring. That's one thing to note. Don't put it on full strength unless you've got something pretty big and sturdy like a tree that can handle it, but it can burn plants if it is full strength. So dilute it. About 1 to 10 is good for just about everything. If you want to look up individual plants, some things can handle it a little stronger. And then if you are taking a lot of pharmaceutical drugs, probably don't want to use that on the things that you are going to eat. Other than that, have fun recycling your pee. Hi folks, Ariel over here. Thanks for spending some of your valuable time watching these videos. Hopefully you found something beautiful, educational, interesting, peaceful, relaxing, or useful while you are here. If so, find more videos here, subscribe so you don't miss any updates, and if you like what you found here, feel free to like and share away so that others can benefit as well. You all have a wonderful day.